And there are Chris's slides, so whenever you're ready.
Right. Hot diggity. Vala, my new favorite leaky abstraction. Inside every sufficiently complex framework is a small, clean programming language screaming to get out. In the case of Microsoft's OLE/COM, it was Visual Basic and VBA. In the case of the glib G-object framework, it's Vala. glib and G-object are C libraries that give you a full object-oriented system with interfaces and inheritance and virtual methods and fancy stuff in rather unfortunately bulky C code. They work, they are the basis of the GStreamer multimedia framework and a number of other libraries, but they're really a pain to work with in C. The Vala programming language was developed by the GNOME project to make glib and G-object easier to work with. Motivating example. Here is a 9-line Vala library that does nothing. All it does is declare one class with one enum, and it's 9 lines. Here's the generated C code. Oh, wait, this is not all of the generated C code. There's the rest. 321 lines of C to implement what you get in 9 lines of Vala. So yes, it's worth using. Unfortunately, for API bindings, it relies on the people who wrote those bindings having done so correctly, and sometimes that's not the case, so bindings can be broken. But more significantly, the abstraction leaks like a sieve when it comes to debugging. So printf debugging still works fine, but if you want to single step, you have 2 options. Your first option is to single step the generated C code. You can ask Vala to generate C source, and then you can compile that with -G and step through it, and you will get variable names, but you'll also get lots of intermediates. Jonathan, if you're watching, Vala treats C as a machine with an infinite number of registers, and you see them all when you step through the generated code. The other option is to run Vala C with -G, in which case what you get is something that looks like this. This is from the previous slide. Some of the C code inherits the file name and line number of the generated C file, and some of it is considered to be from your Vala source with its line. So when you're stepping through this in GDB, and you're on this line in the C file, and you hit next, you will suddenly be in your Vala source. And when you go to step out of the function, all of a sudden you'll be back in your C file again. So don't use Vala if you don't know C, because you will be sorry. On the plus side, automatic memory management. This is one of the great things about G-object. It provides reference-counted memory management, and Vala automates the reference counting so that you don't have to manually track the references or manually increment and decrement the references on your objects. You can share them and use them freely. Huge. It does give you real object orientation in C. It gives you a much cleaner syntax than G-object does. For example, in G-object, non-virtual methods of a class, virtual methods of that class, non-virtual inherited methods from a parent class, and virtual methods inherited from a parent class all have different syntax at the point where you call them. So in order to call them in C, you have to know which category they're in, and it's a big pain. In Vala, same syntax for all 4 types of calls. Fantastic. Gives you namespacing. Just as C++ has namespacing, you can use namespacing in Vala to avoid having to repeat prefixes like my underscore, library underscore on all your symbols. And since all the generated code is C, it can be consumed by anything that links to C. So if you want to write some Vala and call it from Platypus, no problem, because it's just C under the hood. Thanks very much to you for watching, to these fine folks who I have never met, who provided resources that I was able to use, and happy hacking.
Okay, Dave